fun show. All right, guys. So Paul Bates here and Beverly, and we are live. Billy, how are you doing this morning?
Daisy.
We're live now. So anyway, Daisy here, Paul and Beverly. We're aboard Southern Estate, which is a 44-foot marine trader. We're in the middle of completing America's Great Loop. We've completed about 6,000 miles of the loop. And now we are sitting here in Iuka, Mississippi, just waiting out weather and hurricane. Actually, there's a big storm out there right now. So anyway, I want to just go over our story real quick, just a little bit. I basically lost my job to COVID. We decided we're going to do something. And so I decided I'm going to buy a trawler because 10 years ago we lived on a trawler. We loved the lifestyle. And then we switched and went from the West Coast over here to the down south. Well, being down south here, on the West Coast, you could go do basically run the West Coast, Alaska, and stuff like that. But there's no intercoastal waterways, and it's very expensive on the West Coast. So that, and we had family and support on down here down south, and we lived here 10 years ago. So what we did is we went ahead and bought a trawler, which was Loop Princess, and you get to follow the channel. And Loop Princess was a 35-foot trawler, and then in Delaware City, we switched that and ended up on this Marine Trader 44, which we will live on here for the next 4 to 5 years. Right now, we're almost completely in the loop. Supposedly we're in the loop right now on America's Great Loop. We've completed about 6,000 miles of the loop. We only have a few hundred more miles to go, but we're just waiting out the hurricane season. So hurricane season, we're from Homeport is where we started from, Homeport Marina, which is basically Mobile Bay. And we're waiting to get back to Mobile Bay. But Daisy, you going to say hi to everybody? Daisy's ready. So anyway, today we just wanted to do a Q&A, and if anybody had any questions, we want to answer those questions for you and get this party started. So anyway, today we took a day off. We didn't do any work on the boat. As you guys know, we've been doing, anybody that watched the shorts and all that stuff, we've been doing canvas work, getting our solar shades on, not solar screens, solar shades. All they do is protect the UV from coming inside of the boat. We've been working on that a lot lately. Okay. Hello, Paul and Beverly. You mentioned in one of your videos about not liking the console machine. Can you explain? Yeah. Okay. So the console machine, and Beverly can answer this one. And I don't think she's ever seen the Sailrite machine. But when we lived in California 10 years ago, we bought that machine because we went to the local dealer, and we had access to it right away. But we should have waited. I've actually seen one of the Sailrite, and that's the company, Sailrite, makes a machine, and it is just the machine. The difference in the two are far superior. But the console was about it was $550. Yeah, it's a basic machine. I just don't like the stitching and stuff like that, but it's done a good job for us.
Not for big sewing, but for little patching or stuff, but not for really heavy duty sewing. It's been difficult.
Yeah, so when she's talking about that is when we get the layers of materials together, sometimes it can get, it doesn't do really well on real thick material. But it does, when I say real thick, I'm saying when we get like 5 or 6 pieces of canvas together, where I think the Sailrite would do much, much better. I've seen the machine. Yeah. We've never had one, but I have seen one, and I've seen one sewing, and it's a beautiful machine. You can tell it's just a completely different machine. They're only a few $100 more, and we should have done that years ago. Steve Alexander questions. We've been married 29 years and have a lot of stuff. Can you talk about your simplify to store your belongings and live aboard for the next few years? Okay, so one thing that I can tell you right now is me and Beverly have, we we chose a debt-free lifestyle years and years ago, basically. And in that transformation, we've learned how to live in small and tight places because that's what we can afford and what we can afford to pay cash for. So in this situation right here on our Trawler right here, we do have a 16-foot, is that right? Is it 16 or 18? I don't even know. We have an enclosed covered trailer, bought it brand new in St. George, and it is full of all of our personal belongings. We gave away all of our furniture to friends and family, so we don't really have a lot of furniture left, but now we've furnished the Trawler here, and so everything's pretty much brand new. And so we keep that trailer still, and we have a vehicle still in Mobile. Well, basically Mobile, Bay Minette. And we keep that at some family. George, hope you're watching, George. We keep it at his property, and then he kind of watches it for us. But that trailer is fully loaded with all of our, personal belongings like pictures and stuff like that. And I can't wait to get to it because there's some pictures I want to hang in the Trawler here. And we did not start in this Trawler, so it's been a little bit different. So learning to manage and downsize, and
we have for years.
We've done it for years and years and years. And so we're used to living in tiny spaces. Basically, we lived in a 35-foot travel trailer for 5 years. And that's all we had. We had a shed right beside it, and we pretty much stayed small. We got in the house. I think we had a little more stuff than we realized. And it was just
too much.
Yeah, we had too much. And I think in life that's something that happens. You collect too much, and it's too much. I mean, someday we're all going to go, and how much stuff do we need? How much do we
actually need? A whole lot. Everything. Sometimes they should have. It should be able to do more than one thing. Support too. And then as far as storage and space, you kind of start finding where you can accommodate those things and organize. Organization, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah, and Bev's real good at organization. And as we go through each compartment, we haven't even completely done it on this boat yet, and we will.
I'm basically done. He has a...
No, I haven't started on the outside yet. I still got to get inside the compartments and do a lot of that type of. I got the lazarette in the back there, and that's pretty much what the owner left us on the boat, is all the tools and stuff like that. And I've gone in there several times, and I go in there not daily, but I go in there every couple days looking for something. But it just needs to be cleaned out and organized. And when you're living in these tight, small spaces,
organization is everything.
Yeah, it really is. You got to be key, and you got to have keys. And then I leaked a couple videos. I didn't like my video. I'll do another one here. Excuse me, where I just take some pictures and show you guys and walk you through this, because on a 44-foot boat, we have a lot more than we did on Blue Princess, but still we want to keep it organized and keep everything to where we know it has. Even today, I can't find everything I'm looking for all the time. But again, we just moved on this boat 2 months ago. We've gone over 3,000 nautical miles in it on America's Great Loop, and we kind of just jumped in it and went. And so we're fortunate and now it's time to get it organized and get all the compartments cleaned out and get it really dialed in for us living aboard it. The dream. Okay. So I hope that answered your question about living, and in that. And you really do just got to downsize and figure out what's important and what's not important, because we're going to live this way for the next 5 years. We plan on taking the boat. Now, once we get through this COVID and stuff like that, we plan on taking the boat down to the Keys as our next move, because when we started America's Great Loop, we had to bypass the Keys because we got a late start. We didn't start till April 1st is when we left Mobile. And so now we want to go back, do the Keys, and then over to the Bahamas is the ultimate plan. But I'm not going to go to the Bahamas unless it's opened up, unless it's COVID-free and all the restrictions are off. Nice to see Beverly in the video.
And Daisy. Hi, Daisy.
Lots of love. You have owned a number of boats. Can you give your prescription on wood versus fiberglass hulls? Okay, so me and Beverly have been pretty fortunate. We've owned probably over 20 RVs and 10 boats. I've never per se owned a wooden boat, but I've had a couple friends that have owned them. And there's no comparison. I mean, if you want to own a wood boat and live on a wood boat, you've got to love that boat. You just have to, because the maintenance on it and stuff like that is just it's very expensive, and you just got to be an owner and a lover. And wood boats are, yeah, it's a different life. And we even had one out here. We met up with some guys in a Grand Banks. Remember that little it's like a 36 Grand Banks or 34 Grand Banks. Wooden hull, beautiful boat. Absolutely, I love them. They're absolutely when they're restored properly, just absolutely gorgeous boats. But they're very expensive to maintain, and the hulls are very expensive to maintain. So, and to do them properly. So, I personally am a fiberglass person now, and I even removed all the wood decks. I didn't, but on this marine trader here, all the wood decks and all the teak has been removed from the outside, which make it a less problems in the future. I just wanted to thank you for treating Daisy's treat video. Yeah, it's okay. So I just used that link to get her dog food, and she does get plenty of treats, and she's been a good girl. And I think
Show me your shirt.
let's show me your shirt.
Show me your shirt. I know. Get you a treat, huh?
Yeah, she needs to get a treat.
I should have brought some.
Anyway,
Show me your shirt.
there's Daisy's shirt right there. Anyway,
Is that Daisy? Yeah, we had this one made before we left on the loop. We had it made in Gulf Shores for little octopus princess here, huh? Yeah. Good girl. Daisy. Good girl. Get some treats, huh? She's done actually very well, better than I thought she would do on this trip. She will go on the boat on her green grass that we have laid down on one side. On Loop Princess, we had in the front and down the side. She could run around and she would go in a certain spot. One little secret I did learn, if you do have a dog and you're traveling with it, is I had a little bit of poopy in a bag that when I knew we were doing an anchorage, that I'd bring back to the boat after that last walk. And I left it in the bag, set it in the little corner on the grass. And then when it became time that I knew she needed to probably start thinking about it, I kind of opened it up and set it there in the corner and walked her and asked her to please, go ahead and go potty. And she did. She took to it very nicely. I know all animals are different. Some are going to be easier than others. Daisy's very, very smart. She's a good dog. And when she had to go, she did go. But it did worry me at times when she would wait too long. And there was no way to get her to shore. So that's been the hardest thing with having a dog aboard and doing the trip that we did, was it did weigh heavily on me, just worrying about her, because I knew she needed to go, and she would go, like Paul said, when she had to go. But she would wait because she has been trained, and she knew she would go for her walk that we always do. But of course we couldn't if it was a place where we couldn't get off the boat and take her to shore. And she did finally learn, and it didn't take much, but a little help and a little coaxing and talking with her and working with her and being patient and going out with her and asking her to go ahead and do it. And she did, and she will, but she doesn't like it.
well, that's not true either. You can't say she doesn't like it, because now you can open the back door and she will go around to her grass and go potty if she has to. So it is a great advantage, and that's why we really switched to this Europa style trawler. We've owned the Sun Deck, and we've owned the trunk model, and now this is the Europa model, and it is much better for Daisy. We have two doors over here, one by the steering wheel helm station, and then one in the back here. And you just open that back door up, and she's got to go potty. She'll run right out now and go potty, which is a great advantage. And it wasn't that training didn't happen overnight. Thank you for posting here. So the AIS video, I'll touch base on that with another video too, because I think it's important that loopers especially understand that the loop is different. Like when I am going to add AIS to the boat, and we're going to do it through our iPad. And AIS is just a tracking system, so that you guys that don't know what we're talking about here, it's a tracking system so that I can see all the commercial and people that are signed up for it traffic around me, and then I have their boat names and all their information, and I can see that all around. On the loop, to me, it's not as important because we're never really offshore too far, and we're never really, I mean, everything that we see is on the rivers and everything, and you can see all the traffic in front of you and around you because we really never leave the site of shore. At one time, on the 150-mile crossing, we did go 150-mile crossing, and we have an AIS app, and you can look at the app and kind of see where all the traffic is before you leave. The problem with that app is you can't see it when you're out there in the water, but then that's when radar and everything else kicks in. And anyway, in my opinion, for the loop, you really don't need AIS. You looped quite fast. What do you think of the best speed to see things in the trip? So,
we did, but we also had we had an agenda too, actually, because of the boat being sold and picking up the new boat, and so we had kind of a timeline there. After picking up this boat, we could have slowed down, but actually, I think we saw what we wanted to see, and we moved pretty.
Yeah, that is a big
weather,
question. Why we only spent 4 months doing the entire loop?
Because weather can hold you up. So when you do have good weather and you want to keep moving, and that was kind of our.
Yeah, it was really was. Everything dictated to us, and we never intended originally to do the loop. The loop was more to pick up this boat right here, and then to deliver Loop Princess is the way it all ended up working out. And then we really wanted to get somewhere where we can start working on this boat right here. And now that we've got finished working on it, and I'm not saying we'll never ever do the loop again, because I would love to go up to Canada. And this next summer, as it gets warmer and we go further up the coast there, we may take the path back in to do the loop again, and we'll go much slower pace this time and enjoy the loop a little bit more. But we enjoyed it, and I don't see any.
I think it's your timeline too. It's kind of how many months you can be away if you're not living full time on the boat and you have a life to get back to. You can do it and enjoy it in a short period of time, or if you have the time and the money and you just want to take your time and stop here and here and here and here and do it in ever how long you want to do it. You can do it in many years.
Yeah.
And then just enjoy different ports. That's great too. It's kind of what every individual has timeline in their life.
Yeah, and
ours was kind of
Calm was a
get back to normal. And
Calm was a Ranger tug that was behind us. They actually left 2 weeks behind us from Mississippi, so they were 200 miles behind us. They actually passed us on the loop and did it, and they do it every single year. And there's a lot of loopers out here, not a lot. The actual loopers that complete the loop, there's not that many. But there is loopers that will do that just do the loop. That's all they do every single year. They'll run around and do the loop. We just ran across a few. They've been doing this since 2015.
But to answer the question, I think you can enjoy it in taking your time, or in just moving quite along with weather-wise and stopping what interests you and where you want to stay the most. So as far as port to port to port, but it was very interesting, and it was getting up every morning and going. That's exciting too. And moving on and a different marina every day. That was very exciting.
I don't regret any part of the loop or the time that we did it.
So it's an individual choice on that one.
I would have preferred anchor out while looping. Did you find it difficult to find anchorages? So no, but I think this time around on the loop, we didn't know where the anchorages were at, and then we would book into the marina, and we didn't realize that you could stay right next to the marina in the anchorage. And we did anchor out on the loop here. It was a 4-month trial, but a month of that was sitting at different places and different ports and anchorages and
Daisy
mooring
played
balls.
a little bit of a role in it.
And Daisy did play a little bit of a role in that, because we always wanted to try and stop where it was easy and convenient, especially at the pace we're moving, to get her off the boat, get her walk.
Easier in a marina than a dinghy ride.
But we did it.
We did.
Yeah.
I actually think the anchorages, if you enjoy anchoring, beautiful. the most relaxing and beautiful nights we had were
on
nights that we
Anchorage,
were
or
on the
even the balls.
Yeah.
We loved the
those.
anchoring balls. If you guys
Anchoring balls
watched
or
us,
being
we were on the anchoring balls all the way around the Florida there, all the way up the coast there.
If we could get an anchor
Anchor
ball,
we would
took
take
it.
that over going into the
Slip.
marina.
Over a slip.
Slip. It's just easier to deal with. Anchoring and mooring balls are 10 times easier than going into the marina because it's just less stress if you have to go into the marina. Okay, let's see the engine room. So I've got videos on the engine room. We run twin Ford Lehmans and Bog Warner gears, and my engine room is actually pretty clean in this boat. They were in both of my before I left, even on Live Princess, my engine room was really clean, and I believe it's not the perfect engine room, but it is pretty clean. I can't really take you with the camera setup we have. I get just. And trying to get underneath the floor here to get into the engine room. I'll just. We do have there's videos that I have where I've gone into the engine room, and I haven't done as much on Southern Estate as I did Luke Princess, but they're both basically the same. But this is a little bit bigger engine room. The boat does not seem to have a deck window leaks. Did you have anything special, or just lucky? So yeah. So that is a big thing, especially on these older trawlers. And it's something you really got to look for when you're purchasing, because you can see the stains around these windows right here, and you can see that we have no stains around them because we don't leak any water. Well, some of that has to do with because this is a Europa style trawler, and we have the outside edge there, which is about that wide, that keeps the rain from coming down. It's actually raining right now on us, and
my bedroom wall.
Yeah, there's a couple little spots in here, not very many, but yeah, you want to really pay attention to that. And I can tell you right now, from Luke Princess and Southern Estate here, you do not want a leaky boat, because if you get a leaky boat out there, it's just more irritation, more aggravation, and it's something you need to deal with right away. And don't get involved in a leaky boat, but if you do have a leaky boat, you want to fix it right away.
We got lucky.
Yeah, and we did get lucky with this boat. Very lucky. Cost of the loop. So you guys can see my video. I've done a couple of videos. Sorry, it's pouring rain right now and the lightning's out. Anyway, I've done a couple of videos on this. We originally budgeted about $3,200 a month. Now our budget was over a little bit on that $3,200. It probably is actually closer to $4,000 a month. And the reason for that was the speed that we did the loop. I estimated us doing 6 months. We only took 4 months. And so it was just the more fuel costs is all it was. So it really didn't cost us any more to do the loop. And especially moving at that pace, because it keeps the costs way down, because we're not spending money at the marinas or anchorages or anywhere. We were moving constantly. So basically when we stopped for those 2 and 3 day supplies, we were buying groceries, getting the boat ready again.
And that makes a difference in your cost overall too.
It was.
The longer you stay at marinas, the more it does cost.
But I say we kept our budget really. Oh wow! Did you hear that lightning? We kept our budget really close to that $3,200 a month. It really did. We were pretty dang close to it. Okay. What does your boat seem to have deck and windows especially? Is your earlier question still on the screen? Are you hiding from your brothers? Are we hiding from the Chiefs? But no. The Chief is safely in Arizona. He is living with he's living with my son in Phoenix. And he's there, and he's going to find a job. And the Chief he's in good hands, and we will see him again. When we get ready to go to the Bahamas, he'll come back for a cameo visit. And also, one of these times on these live videos, I'd like to integrate him when I get my camera set up a little bit better, that we can bring Pete in here and you can ask him questions also. Okay, do we have a generator, and how much do we use it, if you have one? So yes, we have a generator. We have an Onan 15 kW generator aboard Southern Estate here, and we use it. It's been hot the last week. Probably the last 2 weeks of the loop, It was very, very hot out. I mean, 90 degrees and 90% humidity. And we pretty much ran it from the time we left the marina till the time we plugged into the next marina. So we use it all the time, and it does get used quite a bit on Southern Stadium. It really doesn't burn that much fuel. It burns a little over a half a gallon an hour. So it really doesn't cost us a ton of money to run the generator. So my philosophy is, if it works, let's run it, use it or lose it. That's the way I've always been with all of my RVs, and we do run our generator quite often. Bring back Bev's galley. Okay, she can do a video every once in a while. And right now she's really working on the new galley, and she wants me to get a new stove and oven put in there, which we'll start working on that. It's right now it's hard to get parts for anything. Nobody has any parts to do anything. Okay. So when we left Mobile, they wanted to talk about motion sickness and stuff like that. I really haven't had it. I get more sick on land now than I do on the boat. I don't know about you.
Well, that's an individual thing still, but I've never had a problem with it. And the times that we were in really, really rough water when Daisy and we had our life jackets on, and we were sitting on the couch and she's clinging to me, and we were in really rough water. And the boat's just pounding and pounding and pounding for hours. Motion sickness doesn't really sink in, I think, because you're so on edge and just want to get it over with and get through it and get past it, that I have no problem, because that's where I was. I was just a nervous wreck and just was praying we were going to get out of it as soon as possible. But it would last for hours, and I've never really had a problem with motion sickness. So that one, I don't know. That's still an individual thing. If you have a problem with motion sickness, there could be some problems if you get into some of that rough weather that we had. I
think getting acclimated, that first month we were on in the water, moving, we were both pretty sick for about a month. And after that,
I wasn't motion sickness. It was just, I think, just
a lot of
getting underway and the stress and the going and this.
The hardest part about doing the loop is starting the loop. I'll tell you that right now.
It was stressful.
Tim Roberts, good to see you 3 live. The windows and curtains look excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so Bev, you guys, she's done an incredible job on the interior of this boat. She made all of these curtains right here, and I'll do videos on these, but she just did an amazing job. She's done the complete interior on this boat now. We got the last piece of furniture yesterday. The camera's actually sitting on it now, but she did an amazing job on this boat.
It turned out very nice. Thank you for noticing the curtains. We're done with this room, actually.
Wow, did you guys hear that lightning? Anyway, do I ever steer from the lower station? Absolutely. And Loop Princess, that's pretty much all I did.
Loop Princess, we did most of our
steering from down lower helm.
She was perfect. But this boat is a little more difficult because the nose is quite high, right?
Yeah, the nose goes
out. And there's a dinghy out there.
And I got a dinghy, and I'd love to add a jet ski to the front side.
So it's not as convenient for Paul. So really, he has to really steer more from the front, from the top.
And what I do too is, like, yes, when I come down to eat lunch or do something, then I'll walk down and I'll steer from here, or we can steer from here, but we want to be in a good location to make sure that we have good visibility.
You're not watching for anything.
Yeah, we're not watching for everything. And typically I'll have the autopilot set when I make that move, and then rarely do we have to use make a steering change or anything like that when I do come down, and it's for less than.
But a boat that has great steering from inside and down below is awesome, because Luke Princess, the three of us enjoyed that being together. I would be cooking breakfast, Paul's steering, and then when he got a break, I was steering, and Daisy was sitting there. We were watching TV and steering. But so actually, it is. I love it. I love having the steering that you can work from down below too.
So somebody asked the question, will I ever go to Light Pro 4 batteries in this boat? So, yes. If we end up keeping the boat for an extended period, so let's say past this 2-year mark, because the batteries I have in here now are all brand new, and it has a huge battery bank on that we spent several thousands of dollars replacing to get this boat up. Because boat, the owner of this boat before, it was an off-grid boat, but he's just got old technology and he does not have the Light Pro 4 batteries in it. And yes, we would love to have the Light Pro 4 batteries, but making that transition over to the new battery system, it can be very expensive. And I would say, that's all depends. If I got a good stock pick and we made a lot of money on it, then yes, we'll probably. It's not a big deal right now, but in the years, like 2 years from now, 24 months from now, when I have to replace the batteries, because we do use the batteries, we use the inverter system. And once we leave here, unless we're running our air conditioners, we strictly are on the battery system, but the engines are usually running and they're charging the batteries. And we can go 24 hours on the battery system that we have now. But it would be nice to upgrade.
The great thing about Lou Princess.
She was it was state of the art.
Paul had her so dialed in, we never had to worry about, we'd go to marinas and didn't even plug in.
What's the one thing each of you can't do without on the living board? What's the one thing each one of us can do without?
Can do without or can't do without?
What's the one thing each of you can't do without on the living board? Wine. Yeah, I gotta have wine. I do enjoy my wine, and
I can't do without Daisy. She makes my day. To Beverly, Daisy, and having a place for Daisy to go potty on this boat is so much. Yeah. Lou Princess was a great boat. There was no doubt about it. She was well laid out, but for us to be able to just open the door and let Daisy go out, and she has space on the back deck and the walk around. And then more space in here for her to walk around. So I would say that was it. Definitely, because it made me more relaxed. So if you have a pup aboard for with you, that's important that they have a good space too.
Harold, good to see you and Alice. I hope you guys
yeah.
Go say hi to Harold and Alice.
Say hi, Daisy. Good girl. We met them.
New listener and subscriber thinking about a trawler, live in New York.
Hope you find your boat.
Speak of insurance for a new owner. Love your channel. Okay, so insurance, and we've talked about this in other videos before. Insurance, me and Beverly have personally owned over 10 boats, and we've insured over the last 30 years. We've had those boats insured with Progressive. So as we made the transition into these boats right here, all we did is call Progressive Insurance Company, and they said yes, thank you very much. Where I did get limits on is I could only limit the value of the boat to so much. If I want to go more, then then the policy and the premiums get much bigger, and then I have to do more, step through more hoops. But paying $25,000 for this trawler and then sticking another $30,000 into it, we're right at the what they insured for, so we're happy with that. So we just keep that insurance, and everybody has an insurance score. So if your insurance score is good and you've had lots of boats and nautical experience before, you have no problem. When you don't have that nautical experience and you have never owned a boat before, then yes, it's going to be a little more difficult for you to get insurance.
And Harold and Alice came over and met us after we made the crossing. Where were we at?
They're in Kalidasi. That's where Harold and Alice, they're in Kalidasi right now on their little boat.
Oh.
They're watching this from their iPad.
Oh my gosh, that's where we met them in Kalidasi State Park. They came over and the weather was actually getting quite nasty, and I didn't get to visit us long, and I wish they could have stayed longer with us. But love to you both. Thank you so much for everything you brought us. All the gifts were so treasured, and we love them, huh, Daisy? Yeah, you got something too, didn't you? So thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So yes, so somebody's asking the questions. Do I think the Light Pro 4 batteries are worth the expense and the generator? So yeah, the Light Pro 4 batteries, we had them on Lou Princess, and we never even ran. We had less than 10 hours of generator time on the entire time, 4 months, or we ran Lou Princess for 2 months, and we ran this one for 2 months on the America's Great Loop. And we never even turned the generator on, but a few times. And the only reason I'd run the generator on Lou Princess was just to run the generator. It was never really to run anything. We didn't need the air conditioner neither. because I don't have the inverters on either one of these two boats. Do I have the inverters to run the air conditioners with the Light Pro 4 batteries? But on Loop Princess, we ran our main refrigerator in the kitchen, and then we had a portable freezer, and we ran those 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the Light Pro 4 batteries and the solar panels, and never even had that connected to the engine. And it did it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and I don't know how long it would sustain it, for life. I think the Light Pro 4 battery is an amazing piece of technology. It's only getting better. And yes, I love the technology, and we would do it again. Yes, definitely 100%. That is the big advantage of the Light Pro 4 batteries. Now, this boat does have a big enough battery bank that when we don't need the generator, I think the last time we were on anchor, I got up like at 2 o'clock in the morning. The generator on this boat isn't super loud, but yes, not to hear that generator, I loved it on Loop Princess. Yeah, it's definitely a huge, huge advantage. And I think that I'm glad that I have both systems. And yes, I would love this one to be a Light Pro 4 system and some solar panels. We are going to add the solar panels here when we get to home port. I'm going to add them myself, and then so that we can have less generator time. But yes, I don't want to hear that noisy generator at all, period, if I don't have to. And it's not really about the cost. No, excuse me. Because the cost of running the generator really isn't that expensive. The dream waiting on the hurricane to hit us. Yeah, you guys we feel for you guys in New York right now. You guys got a big one coming at you. We're glad to be out of there. And to tell you the truth, I'd love to walk. It was one of my most emotional and best parts of the trip was pulling into New York, into the harbor there. I just remember it, the Statue of Liberty. It was unbelievable. The emotions that were running through me and everything were just unbelievable. We love New York. We've been there. Me and Bev have been fortunate in our lives, and we've been there several times.
Let's hope there's not going to be too much damage.
Yeah, we don't want any damage on our fellow trawlers in New York. Do you have any thoughts about older Grand Banks trawlers, early fiberglass models? Okay, so some good friends of ours right now, they're in this marine array here, Virginia Hawkeye. They have a little bit older Grand Banks trawler. Love the Grand Banks trawler. They hold their value better. And when you walk across those teak decks, you can tell the difference. There's a huge difference between those and like a CHB or I don't want to say a little less expensive trawler. I mean, the Grand Banks is a good trawler. And again, as long as you stay into that fiberglass ear, you should be in fairly good shape. Now, you still want to make sure that the moisture hasn't got between the teak in there, and your tanks are all right. But Bob I can't remember the year it is. It's an 80s model. Might even be a 70s. Yeah, maybe even be a 78, 79. I can't remember. Right there's that transition. This is an older Grand Banks, beautiful boat. And you can just tell the difference when you walk across those decks. So yes, we're huge Grand Banks fans, and they're good boats. You still have any thoughts about older Grand Banks? Okay. Waiting on the hurricane in New York. It's worth it just for the silence of the
We're waiting here for hurricane season to kind of get past before we can finish the loop at Lulu's and Homeport in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Yeah, Ricky.
We're so close.
Appalachia, Florida, Cola, Florida. Looking forward to getting back there and making that crossing. I think this time, I don't know what Bev's thoughts are. We'll have to do it. This boat's quite a bit different. So it actually is a little bit faster than Loop Princess. And we'll have to make a determination whether we take that or do the short passage or the long passage. Half of me says I would just love that long passage. It was one of the most best experiences of the loop for us was the Apalachicola to Clearwater.
I feared the heck out of that, but enjoyed it so much.
Belhaven, North Carolina, the Deuce River. Thanks for explanation on Grand Banks. So,
one of my worst nightmares.
Yeah, the nasty news. I love North Carolina. It was absolutely gorgeous. I personally did not like the Georgia coast. I loved the North and the Grand Haven right there we were talking about.
It wasn't that we didn't love the Georgia coast. It was that the passage through Georgia was very more. It was more
It's more windy.
preserved, like, and winding through nothing. And not marinas are not close. So it was quite a different little jaunt through there. Windy, and nothing, and a long way before you could reach a marina. So
yeah, and it was really shallow. There got to be some really shallow spots in there. It may be, if we do the loop again, it might be where that there's just like this little 100-mile stretch there. I might go on the outside and just try that on the outside.
weather permitting.
But where you're talking about, I absolutely loved it. Any perspectives on Hatteras long-range cruisers? Yeah, I mean, they're just beautiful boats, and especially when you see one that's been preserved. I'm not a huge. Most of those Hatterases have, the Detroits in there, the AV, the big Detroit engines in them. I'm not a huge Detroit fan, but there's lots of parts availability. They're great engines. They run forever. Your engine room's a little bit oilier than normal, but I love the boats. You see a lot of them out here on America's Great Loop. We, matter of fact, down there in Grand Haven over there at Thunderbolt Marina, we were right next to a big Hatteras and just talked to him for like 2 days. We were with them, and just a beautiful boat. And they're beautiful when they're restored properly. Just absolutely gorgeous boats. Cyrus, I would like to be keeping the trawler on Pinnacle River. Currently live from Molly's, North Carolina. Thanks for answering our questions. Have a wonderful evening. Alice says, Bev, you did a nice job with window treatments. So thanks, Alice.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap this one up tonight. And we were trying to do these once a month. That's not too much for us to try and get us all three together here and do one of these videos where we can answer you guys' questions. I get them live now. I think I'm going to do the live videos every morning from 8 to 8:15. And you can just go to the live feeds, and we're going to talk about different parts of the loops and different experiences that we had on the loop, and what I like.
We're going to finish.
and everything that goes on. So
almost finished.
And those I'm just going to start working on Monday through Fridays, because the YouTube channel does create a little income for us. It's not much, but it does create a little income, and I do enjoy it. But I'm going to lay less on some of the videos and work more on these live feeds.
But actually, we are here for what, 2 more weeks?
Yeah, we're here in Iuka, Mississippi for 2 more weeks.
We're going to continue working
on the boat.
We're in a covered slip right now, so it's good for Paul for us being outside on the deck since work he has to do. And then we're headed to Demopolis.
Yeah, we're heading to Demopolis, where we'll be there for a month.
Alabama. So we're going to wait it out there from the 1st of September till around the 1st of October or so before we make our passage back, and we're so close to finishing in Gulf Shores. That way the hurricane season should be closer to the end, where we know we're not going to get caught in a storm. And prayers and thoughts are with you people and the path.
Yeah, everybody that has to go through these hurricanes, we've lived through 2 or 3 of them. God bless you, and we hope the best for everybody. I mean, that they're horrible to go through. Anyway, Paul and Beverly here. We're going to sign off for the evening. Thank you guys so much. We look forward to seeing you guys. That all of you, not just Harold now, all of you guys that subscribe to the channel, and everybody, we thank you guys so much, because it does make a difference for us. Anyway, love, peace out, and live life with no regret. Thank you guys. We do appreciate it.
Good night.
Daisy, what are you doing?
Daisy, you didn't say goodbye.
You want to come say goodbye real quick?
Come say goodbye. Come on. Oh my goodness, face problem. Are we still on? Oh, Daisy's down here. Okay, I'm not going to mess with you.